Now at 4, the first Walk-Ons Independence Bowl is just wrapping up, and sports director Casey Vieira joins me to break down the highlights. And turning a front yard into a cemetery. See how and why a retired Shreveport police officer is making a statement at city leaders.
We are gearing up for a cold night ahead. I'm tracking more chilly weather into the new year in your forecast.
And the road to recovery. An Arklatex group is looking for people to help good things happen here. We'll show you how you can get involved. And is this person out of his mind? See what he said on Instagram about this post now going viral. I'm Marie Waxel. KSLA News 12 Now at 4 begins right now.
You're watching KSLA News 12 Now at 4.
Another Independence Bowl is wrapping up in merely minutes from now, and Southern Miss, well, they didn't prove to be much of a matchup for FSU, who's under the watchful eyes of interim coach Odell Haggins. Casey, you are out there at the game today. Really kind of a sloppy performance from both teams.
On top of the fact that it was pretty cold.
Oh, absolutely. I think James said it was feeling like 32 was a wind chill out there, and I felt it. Did you?
Yeah, it was one of those deals. I'm not one for the numbers, but just know it was cold. Just know it was cold. And for all the hype and fanfare coming into this, include the narrative, honestly, that FSU wasn't fully mentally checked in. Honestly, scrap the thought. With the exception of an opening drive touchdown for the Golden Eagles, said chilly Wednesday belonging solely to the Seminoles. Still wrapping up at the very moment, but honestly, not a whole lot to talk about in terms of a flashy game element kind of thing, because it's just been all Seminoles tonight. 42-13, James Blackman, 4 touchdown passes. And with that said, be sure to come back later on KSLA News 12 at 5. Well, I'll talk about it a little bit more, and then 6 o'clock reaction, all that fun stuff. And again, Marie, I mean, obviously, you love talking about the Independence Bowl. By the way, good turnout tonight, 33,000, a lot better than the fine folks at the Independence Bowl projected. But you look beyond that game itself, not much to talk about. But most importantly for the town, good turnout for the town, good visiting turnout, really for Southern Miss. And at day's end, pretty successful afternoon.
Absolutely. And you were inside the stadium.
I was.
But I got to have, I think, a little more fun than you. I was outside with those tailgaters. Check this out.
Got some turkey necks, gonna have some potatoes, some sausage, just a little boil. You know, it's cold out here, so we want to try to stay warm with something good that's gonna stick to your bones.
And let me tell you, there was a ton of good food from all kinds of tailgaters out there this morning, no matter young, old, seasoned, new tailgaters. Some of them starting off with more breakfast-style foods. We saw a big pot of eggs, while others digging into more traditional foods like boils, burgers, and boudin. Now, despite the wind chill, again, making it feel like it was right about the freezing mark, everyone stayed bundled up, and most were huddled around by portable heaters and fire pits. A lot of good camaraderie happening out there before the game. A lot of Noles fans, you know, they're from Tallahassee. They say they weren't expecting this cold of temperatures up here in Louisiana. Now, if you were out there tailgating today, we want to see your setup and any other fun photos you may have taken from the game. All you have to do is go on Twitter or any social media page. Twitter is where I posted my photos today. You can post them here like I did, and you can use that hashtag #HeyKSLA. We can look at them, we can reshare them. Again, a lot of fun memories made by everyone out there in attendance today, so we want to share off your memories. Just do that, help us do that by using the hashtag, again, #HeyKSLA. Now that the eyeball is nearly over with, all eyes will start heading towards the southern part of the state. Teams are now flying into New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. Check it out. A traditional brass band welcomed Nick Saban and his Alabama team as they got off the plane ready to go to work. They're facing the #1 team in the country, the Clemson Tigers. Not only is this year's game a repeat of last year's national championship game, it's also Alabama's 4th consecutive trip to the college football playoffs. Now, Clemson just arrived in New Orleans about an hour ago. Both teams will meet on the field once again Monday night in the Superdome. Jeff, a lot of people are working to thaw out this afternoon after sitting in Independence Stadium. The wind, it really just cuts right through you. But I do have to admit, I love this kind of weather.
You may be in the minority on that. I think a lot of folks maybe would hope that it's going to start to warm back up, but Mother Nature has other plans. In fact, it's probably going to get colder before we see temperatures warm back up again here in the Arklatex. So get ready. We are stuck in the deep freeze for the rest of this year and the beginning of next as well. And look at your numbers right now. It's 42 in Shreveport, but it feels colder with the wind. 36 Texarkana, 39 Mount Pleasant, 38 into Queen. And even in the southern Arklatex, where we normally look for milder temperatures, it's not. We're talking only around 40 to 41 from Center to Hemphill over toward Natchitoches. Marie, you were talking about the wind earlier. This is what it feels like when you add in the breeze. Shreveport feeling like it's 36, feels like it's in the 20s in Texarkana, and these lower wind chills are going to continue as the breeze will stick around through the late afternoon and the evening hours. Now, we've had a lot of cloud cover out there. We did not have any rain, though, for the Independence Bowl, although down in the far southern Arklatex, there are some cold rain showers kind of skirting by this area from Broadus to Pineland, Texas, a little bit here across southern sections of Sabine Parish, south of Florine. These will track across the far southern Arklatex, but should start to move out as we head on into the evening hours. Here's your forecast for the next several hours. Maybe taking the dog for a walk. Depending on how much fur they have, they might like it. For you, though, make sure you bundle up. 39 at 5, we're at 36 at 6, and still hanging in there in the mid-30s at 7 this evening. Back in just a few moments, we're tracking more of this chilly weather into your Thursday on the way in your forecast.
Now at 4, we now know the name of the pedestrian hit and killed in DeSoto Parish last night. We're told 55-year-old Charles Williams was hit while walking along US 171 in Kickapoo. Authorities say Williams was wearing dark-colored clothing and walking in the cold, misting rain at the time of the crash. State police say pedestrians are encouraged to walk facing towards traffic, carrying a flashlight, or at least wearing light-colored clothing. Well, we have an alert now for drivers in Bossier Parish. We want to warn you about a major road closure happening tomorrow. The bridges on Horseshoe and Hodgkin Bayous between Capli-Saigo Road and Louisiana Highway 157 will be closed due to repairs. Now, crews are expected to complete the 2 bridge repairs by Tuesday, January 9th. So make sure you plan accordingly, again, if you live out there in Bossier Parish. New at 4, a retired Shreveport police lieutenant turns her front yard into a graveyard representing the city's homicide victims. Robin Snyder has put 50 crosses in her front yard on Ockley. She says she wants people, including city leadership, to have a visual representation of the city's rising murder rate and be more proactive in preventing these types of deaths. Now, the city of Shreveport has recorded 48 murders this year. 54 if you count what's considered justified homicides. Now at 4, paddling may soon be an option in one Mississippi school district. The Greenville Public School District superintendent says parents will be able to sign a waiver giving permission to have their child paddled for misbehaving. Some express concerns about the proposal, saying it doesn't specify where a child can be struck, how many times, or how hard. Now, Mississippi law allows each school district to set a corporal punishment policy. Well, do you think that this is right? Let us know your thoughts on this story by visiting our KSLA News 12 Facebook page. You can find this story, which we posted earlier today, and you can join in this conversation and leave us a comment right there. We want to know, how do you feel about corporal punishment in schools? And an update now, after 66 years, Shreveport's most iconic toy store, Toy Fair, is expecting to close its doors this week or next week. But some good news is they sold a majority of their inventory before Christmas. Now, they didn't sell everything, so you can still buy some children's shoes and clothes. We first told you about Toy Fair closing its doors back in early October. You can read the full article of the closure and why it's happening on our KSLA News 12 app. KSLA cares by giving back to our community, and just a reminder of our annual Coats for Kids drive, which is now underway. Time is running out, so you want to go ahead and drop off any new or gently used coats or sweaters right here to our KSLA News 12 studios on Fairfield Avenue, or you can leave them at any Porter's Fine Dry Cleaners locations. We'll be accepting your donations until January 5th before we will distribute them to the community. A program to give cancer patients rides to their treatment is looking for new volunteers to drive more people who otherwise would not have a ride.
Can you imagine having to go to radiation 5 days a week and have to wonder how to get there?
Now, that was Miss Agnes. Now, recently she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she relies on the American Cancer Society's Road to Recovery program. She and many more people like her depend on this program for their life-saving treatments. Our own Eric Pointer went along with her on her ride this morning. Coming up at 6 o'clock, he'll share more about the program, including how you can volunteer. Well, if you plan on going out this weekend to ring in the new year, you'll definitely want to think ahead. Bossier deputies say they will be out in force Saturday night conducting sobriety checkpoints. They tell us those checkpoints will begin at 10 o'clock at night and run into Sunday morning. That's December 30th and 31st. They will be looking for impaired drivers. So if you plan on drinking and driving, call a sober friend or get a lift.
A lot of snow, just keeps coming, won't stop.
All I could do was laugh. You know, it's a little ridiculous, but I keep pecking away at it.
And pecking away, they will continue. Just see how much snow has actually fallen, and we'll also take a look at some amazing sights it's left behind. Plus this guy, yes, he is enjoying every second of that white stuff. We'll take a closer look at why he's just hanging out. No problem. Jeff?
I guess you got to make the best of it when you're dealing with stuff like that. We don't have anything like that, but we certainly have the cold. I'm tracking more of it tomorrow in your forecast after this break. Stay with us.